Hey, it's Sammy for another episode of the I Do Music podcast, and our goal and our mission is to empower and educate musicians and artists worldwide. And on today's episode, we sat down with Grammy Award-winning producer Rook of Justice League, discussing how his upbringing influenced the sound, forming Justice League with Colione, and reminiscing on winning his first Grammy with Mary J. Blige. Hey, it's Sammy for another episode of the I Do Music podcast, and I'm excited because I'm sitting down with Grammy Award-winning, or half of the Justice League.
Correct.
Here.
Shout out to Colione.
Colione is missing today, but it's okay. Erik, Rook, Ortiz.
It's me.
Yeah, the full name. We had to give you the full name.
Of course.
How you feeling?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Happy to see you. So, yeah, half of the Justice League. Originally, it was 3 members now, right?
Correct.
Okay, what happened?
I mean, you know, with every business, every business takes, you know, there's changes and whatnot. So we're no different from any other business.
Gotcha.
You know?
But originally from South Florida, Tampa.
We're from
Central Florida, excuse me.
Yeah.
And
Tampa.
I don't know why I put South Florida. How would you say
It all meshes together.
It kind of does.
Tampa, Miami. Everybody thinks we're from Miami, but we're not.
Is it because you worked with Ross? And
Yeah.
You think that has a lot to do with Miami?
Yeah, but it's all good.
You don't mind?
Florida. Nah.
So originally from Central Florida, Tampa to be exact.
St. Pete.
St. Pete. You.
I'm from St. Pete. Colione's from Plant City.
Did y'all know each other at home?
Yeah.
That's how y'all cooked up?
Yeah, just just doing music out there. We just we had, you know, mutual friends and all that, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would you say your hometown and like your cultural background even influenced the way you produce and like feel music? Because Florida, obviously, you know, we can talk about Ross, we can talk about Trick Daddy even, Trina.
Absolutely, we work with all of them.
Right, so like all of that music and even to like today, the Kodaks, the Denzel Curry, XXX, what would you say, like how does being from that place help you feel music?
Well, originally I'm from the Bronx.
Oh.
And my family's from the Bronx.
Really?
Yeah. And we're Puerto Rican.
Yes, I know that.
And there's a lot of island in the Florida. That's why a lot of people don't really consider Florida the South, because we're more island.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got Cuba, Puerto Rico, Haiti, Jamaica.
A lot of culture.
A lot of different island culture there, which is not as prevalent in Georgia on up.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of that is meshed in as far as Florida is concerned. We're a melting pot, kind of like New York.
Definitely.
You know?
Definitely. So I know your father was a well-known percussionist.
He is.
Or is a well-known percussionist.
He has hit records right now.
For Aldi Meola. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
And so would you say you took after him as a musician, like taking on instruments growing up and stuff?
Not, because I'm not really a musician. I'm a producer.
Producer.
Yeah.
You don't play instruments?
I can, like, good enough. You know
to make the beat, right?
Yeah. But I'm a producer, so I tell people who are more talented than me to sound more talented than they really are.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Got you. So what were you listening to growing up, though? I mean, being in the family with, like, all this culture and, like, you know, being Puerto Rican, being in the Bronx to going to Florida and, you know, living in Atlanta or whatever.
Well, you know, my pops, he was, my pops and my mom's, like, they was in the birth of hip-hop in the late 70s, early 80s and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So he always loved rap and hip-hop. And he always loved the rhythms and the music, you know, because, you know, at that time in New York, it was hip hop, salsa, and punk rock.
Mm-hmm.
That was all birthed about the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because a lot of people think salsa is from, you know, from the island. No, that shit was that's in New York. That's a New York thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
So y'all were listening to a lot of that. In the house.
Yeah. Well, you know, my grandma cook. You know, she cooking.
She dancing a little bit in the kitchen.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it was when I was listening to hip hop, my pops loved it. Tribe Called Quest, NWA, and Outkast and all that shit. Like he was loving that shit because it was like, yo, this shit is musical. This shit is dope. It's musical as fuck. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like he encouraged it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
So, just to go back to like Florida, I know, or I want to ask, how has the Florida influence changed since you were growing up to now, or just even coming up as a producer till now when you see, like I said, the Kodaks to the XXX to the Denzel Curry, if it has, and you know, they're finding a lot more success with
nah, that shit
with
is
artists.
great. Like if you like Kodak, I think his background is Haitian, I believe.
Yeah, he is Haitian.
Yeah, and you can hear it in the music. You know what I mean, and his message.
What do you hear when you say like you can hear it in his music?
I mean, you hear certain lyrics, you hear certain sayings. You know what I mean? That's people from the island, we get it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
You hear that. XXX, you could hear his influence. Especially because there's a lot of New York transplants in New York. I'm sorry, in
In
Florida,
Florida. Hmm.
and you can hear a lot of that in his music. Um, and Florida just has a different perspective on
Hmm.
things because, like I said, we're a melting pot, just like New York,
Yeah.
and so you can't really pigeonhole our sound to
One particular Miami thing.
right.
Right.
Even though we kind of invented what I'm saying, the booty shaking and all that, the
Uh-huh.
Two Live Crew and all that.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Cause
It's a culmination of sounds.
correct.
Okay. So you are very vocal on Twitter and social media in general and
I
just
can
in
be.
life.
I can be.
You can be. You have been. One of the things that you said was about basically pursuing music and that you needed to do it 100% versus
Correct.
like you utilizing it as a part-time, you know?
Correct.
But why would you say someone can't have a day job while pursuing a career in music and that they have to go full throttle with this in your opinion?
Well, it's not really an opinion.
It's fact?
Yeah.
Why? Okay, so well, I have to ask you why because you were working and producing at the time before you got fired in 2002. Just
I
from
got
like my
fired in
research.
2002. I was kind of producing.
Okay,
I was, I thought I was producing. I was making beats.
right.
Um, I got fired. Then I went full throttle. I was like, oh shit. The job was really in my way because I wasn't sleeping. I was just like, I was making beats every day. I was working my job every day. I was barely sleeping. And when I got fired, it was a blessing. You know what I mean? Because even though I was broke as fuck, it was a blessing. I was like, that shit was just, it was just out of my way. You know what I mean?
So you
So
could fully focus.
correct. It goes down to fear. A lot of people are scared of paying their bills or paying. Maybe they got babies. Maybe they got what I'm saying. Of course, you got to take care of your kids and all that. But it's and again that it's a singular experience with me. But I also have another experience with my dad because he um, sacrificed a lot with his own family, with
Hmm.
with me and my brothers, and just being around. But to me, that set an example of what you had to do, the amount, a level of sacrifice that you had to take in order to be successful. You know what I mean?
I agree. So where were you working when you got
It
fired?
was I think it was General Motors. I was doing um, like alternative dispute resolutions. Like I was basically motherfuckers called in with fucked up cars, like brand new cars,
Yeah.
and basically we was trying to like avoid lawsuits and shit. So we're like, all right, um, extended warranties, you get unlimited oil
You was setting
changes.
folks up to like not be mad.
Correct.
Basically, you were
Correct.
the problem
Sometimes
solver.
that shit don't.
It didn't
Sometimes
work.
nah, it ain't work. I'm like, hey man, y'all motherfuckers is fucked. Y'all about to get sued for whatever. You about to get them a new car because there's laws you had to abide by,
Right.
lemon laws and shit.
Yeah. So what would you say your first big break was for, like your career? Like the moment you were like, okay, great, I'm onto something.
Man, I mean, I think it was levels.
Okay.
It was levels. It was like small increments. It was, I was working with this other guy from St. Pete, Tampa, Balewa Muhammad, who was part of the Clutch, and he worked with everybody from Jaheim to Christina Aguilera and Justin Bieber and stuff. So he was already in the industry, and he thought I was dope. You know what I mean? So I was working with him for a while. So, and he taught me a lot about vocal production and about producing songs. And like I thought I was a producer, but
Not quite.
yeah, I was just making beats.
Gotcha.
And he really taught me about
How'd you link up with him?
Oh, just being from the same hood.
Okay.
Yeah, we from the same hood. His partner, Sly Jordan, who does a lot of stuff with Dr. Dre now. I went to school with his brother. Like, we was all from the same hood, so we all kind of knew each other.
Gotcha.
But those guys were so talented, they took their risk, and he tried to, reach out and, extend the opportunities
That's dope.
to me and whatnot. So that was the first, kind of like, oh man, he got me in the studio with Andy Stone, he got me in the studio with Jaheim, he got me in the studio with this and that, I'm seeing all, but
What were those moments like though early on, just being in the studio, just like seeing someone like him and other people who were in the studio, like those talented artists?
Yeah, because
How did
at
that
the
feel
time
for
they
you?
were huge.
Right. Angie
Um,
Stone, like, I mean, how did that
yeah,
feel at the time for you just being there? What were you more like fly on the wall? Were you
I was
active?
I wanted to get the job done. I wanted to make sure that everybody was impressed, everybody was happy, and I was a fly on the wall because I'm vocal, but I know when to speak and when not to speak.
Right, for sure. So talk about forming the Justice League,
Mhm.
because I know you were a little hesitant to begin with. Why were you hesitant to be a part of like a producer group?
Well, because of my experience with Balewa and my experience with just being in the studio with these big stars already, I was like, okay, why do I need to be
Right.
with somebody to to be successful? I could just do it myself or whatever. Um, but I think Colione, like, he really wanted to be a group because he saw that musically I did stuff that he didn't do, and then when I heard this stuff, musically he did stuff that I didn't do. I was like, damn, this motherfucker's like
So what would you say
good.
the balance is? Like, what do you provide that he doesn't,
Well,
and vice versa?
at first it was I did more of like the East Coast R&B, the sample based stuff,
Mm-hmm.
the just
The
that,
sauce, a
yeah,
little sauce.
yeah. And he did a lot of the what I'm saying, the synthy, the club shit, the fucking the what I'm saying, back then I guess the Timberland shit or the just his shit was turned like a
Yeah.
motherfucker. I was like, damn, he's fucking
Put this
good.
together, and we
We put
got
it together, it was like, oh shit, like yo, it like unstoppable.
right. That's
So
dope.
yeah,
Justice League is
yeah,
a powerful name.
yeah.
Y'all super into like comics
Well,
and
I
okay.
am,
So you
yeah,
came up with the name.
yeah. Well, he is too. I came up with the name, but he's into this shit, So
So I
and he's too
mean,
cool. He don't want to admit it.
he don't want to admit
Corleone
it.
is cool. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You seem pretty cool too. I'm not gonna lie. You
sometimes.
seem pretty cool. Okay, so forming Justice League, becoming his production team,
Mhm.
how did that prove to be as impactful as he already knew it was going to be for the both of you, early on, like just saying like, hey, we're coming with these two things. And then also like how are y'all working together? Because, music is pretty ego driven and, everybody has like, this is the way I want to do it.
I think it was more when we first got together. It was more learning. Like we learned each other's methods. Like I brought like the first time I went to his house in Plant City, I brought over my ASR 10 keyboard, which
Mm-hmm.
is old school beat machine. Um, so I brought that over, and he was working on Logic 5, which is a PC based DAW, which wasn't it wasn't on Apple, it wasn't Pro Tools, it wasn't anything like that, or Digital Performer. Like Logic barely anybody used that shit
Mm-hmm.
back then. So he was teaching me things about Logic, and I was teaching him things on my methods of how I made beats on the hardware.
Right.
And so we just combined that shit. So we like the first day we got together, we just made like 10 beats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or we just modified tracks that we already had. Like, okay, give me your sounds, I'll give you my sounds. We'll just make them better.
Right.
So we just, we made a lot of. The first day we made like 10 beats.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, just
Yeah, we were like, oh, this is
We got
dope.
something.
Yeah, let's fucking go.
so talk about the process of. I mean, I'm sure both of you had your own, or your own relationships with
Mhm.
people prior to, but talk about like how it was then to, because now with technological advances, like people aren't making beats the same way, obviously, and they're also
Right.
not sitting in the studio the way that you guys are very hands-on.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
With the entire production on the record, so like real producers, like being in there, wanting to be a part of like a song, a record.
Mhm.
How have you seen this change over the years, and have you changed the way that you approach production?
It's changed over the years in regards to, like I said, the hands-on approach. The budget has a lot to do with it. I think technology has a lot to do with it. So we've changed our approach, and it's fine.
You cool with sending off beats?
It makes our job easier. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to fucking come in with trombone players and violin players and shit. We just, all right, cool. There you go. You know what I'm saying?
But does it
Which kinda
take the fun out of it?
Somewhat, but then the A&Rs and artists, they trust us enough. Okay, here's the vocals. Do what you do with it.
Right.
So we'll do what I do with. Then we'll add the live elements and this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
so it's not all lost. It's just the process is just a
lot
little different.
Yeah.
The budget's a little smaller, so you can't bring in all these people,
These musicians and run up the check.
Right. Right.
So the style of production you talked about, personally for you, recreating those samples to avoid the legal fees, I'm sure it was a big part of like recreating samples and like incorporating live instrumentation. Why was that like something that, because you talked about early on listening to like Outkast and NWA and I know Outkast even in this studio brought in live instrumentation, and to this day Organized Noise, that's what they're about, right?
We had the same manager, by the way.
Really?
Orlando McGee.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've talked to him on this podcast too. Did you see it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
It's good.
Appreciate it. Yeah, that was one of my early ones.
Mm-hmm.
Dope. Shout out to Orlando.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like being hands-on with the instrumentation and like recreating samples, how did you come up with the idea to just like, okay, I want to use this, but I'm going to go ahead and manipulate it a little bit so that I don't have to pay anybody?
Well, I guess at first it wasn't really a paid thing. It wasn't like a money thing. It was more like showing off kind of thing. It's like, okay,
I could do this too.
yeah, we could do this. Like we're dope. Like we know how to make this shit sound exactly like this or whatever. So we was like one of the really early ones. We're ahead of the curve in regards to making music sound like a sample, but it really wasn't a sample. There were a lot of guys like that too. But
Right.
like we were one of the guys in our generation
that were doing it.
Yeah.
Dope. So why is placing that tag so important? The infamous Justice League tag, in establishing your name. Obviously, more specifically on the urban music side, because you don't really hear that on a Beyonce record at all.
They take it out. They take it out.
Yeah,
Beyonce, it's cool. Like whatever.
Yeah,
you do what you want.
You get the credit, so it's fine.
And the money.
And the money, and the check is probably a lot better. So placing that tag, why is that important? Why was that important for y'all?
Because we knew at the time, that a lot of people were gravitating towards streaming, and we knew that reading the credits weren't that important anymore. Especially I guess we just kind of knew back in 2004. You know what I'm saying? We knew that people weren't reading the credits no more.
Yeah, it sucks.
So we were, we kind of had the foresight to be like, you know what? I think we should put a tag on it. And actually, we used to, David Banner is a great producer, And we was like, man, what if we have a tag like David Banner? Like his shit was like,
Banner.
yeah. Like, damn, we should do something like that. So we pretty much copied David Banner's shit. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out David Banner then.
Yeah.
So who was on the tag? It was just a girl's voice, right?
Yeah, it was just
A girl's voice.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think a lot of one of my favorite songs, let's just go there.
Okay.
One of my favorite songs is Aston Martin Music, Ross.
Like that
And I
one, too.
know that I loved it. I think we played it in band. Like it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it like people play
Marching band. Yeah. Because like I said, a lot of your records were very musical.
Yeah.
So it was easy to play those. But working with Ross, it just seemed like you guys have worked with Ross so effortlessly over the years. And I know a lot of people are looking for like a specific Justice League Ross project, just like that's it still. But the Maybach music series became well recognized with Rick Ross and you guys. So how did that collaboration come to be? Because it was an ongoing thing.
Yeah, you know what? It was his vision. Like musically, we had the music, but it was his vision. Like the very first time he came to our crib in Tallahassee, like we was living in Tallahassee at the time, and he came through. We was in the hood. He came through. Like like we was in the hood. I think he thought he was being set up.
I'm
sure. So he came through, and he was working on his second album, Triller, I believe, which is the one at the Port of Miami. So he was working on that album, and he was at our crib. We just just chilling at the crib and playing beats. Watching TV, playing beats, and I don't smoke, so they were smoking. You know what I'm saying? So, we put on the beat. We played the beat for Maybach Music 1. And he was smoking. And as the intro came in, and he heard this, he heard the music. As soon as the drums came in, he was like, yo, I'm gonna call this Maybach Music. And I'm gonna put Jay-Z on this.
Oh.
I was like, we was all like, all right,
okay.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah. So that was like the start of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people, actually, what's funny? A lot of people wanted that beat.
Who?
2 Chainz was one of them, and I think
2 Chainz or Titty Boy?
Titty Boy.
Titty Boy.
Yeah. I think him and Dollar actually put out a
version,
the original version. They did like a little music video of it, which is cool. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I like that. But they put it out like way after the fact.
Oh, okay.
So now at the time, because Triller was pushed back a lot, and we were running to Titty Boy a lot. And he was like, "Yo, man, Jay-Z ain't gonna get on that shit, man. Let me get that beat, man. Let me get that beat." I was like, "Yo, bro, just man, I fuck with you, bro. We'll give you whatever else, you know what I'm saying? But that one,
it's already set in stone. Yeah. We got something going for it.
Yeah." But
how did you feel to know Jay-Z was about to be on it? Was that the first time working? That would be the first time y'all worked with him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the craziest shit is that the day we mixed the record, we was in this room mixing the record.
Yeah.
We still didn't have Jay-Z's vocals. So it's like we were mixing the record. We were adding saxophones. We were adding shit to the record and mixing it and make sure the shit is pristine.
Yeah.
We still didn't have his vocals. The last fucking minute, the same session,
Jay-Z vocals came in.
The Jay-Z vocals came in. It was like, yes. And then we heard the verse. We were like, yo, this
it was
shit
tough.
is fucking crazy. And that's where the Maybach music tag came from.
Oh, okay.
Because he was in, I guess they were in the studio with, the Australian or New Zealand models, wherever they were, or whatever. And they,
they got it.
They got in the booth and said, "What is this, Maybach music, or whatever?" And we saw the like they did it in the session. We was like, "Yo, what if we put that shit like before it?"
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And
just move it around.
Yeah, So yeah, it was crazy. So basically, Jay-Z's verse came in super last minute for that shit. I'm talking about like to the wire.
That's fire. So y'all were in here mixing this record. How was the experience for you? I know you work with Leslie. Did you work with Leslie on that one?
Yeah, Leslie mixed that record.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, the shit is crazy. The verse is crazy. Shit, we had champagne. We had all types of shit just celebrating.
I was in here excited, celebrating, because that was it.
Jay-Z was like, shit, fuck you. We got Jay-Z on our beat. You know what I'm saying?
That's fire.
So
an exciting moment, definitely.
Super exciting.
Dope. Yeah. That's what's up. So Grammy Award-winning producer right here.
Yeah.
For Mary J. Blige, The Breakthrough, which is pivotal point. And you guys got best R&B.
Best R&B
album for that. How did you feel winning a Grammy? I mean, like, you've had pretty much a lot of moments where it's like, okay, like you said, elevating, like, okay, this moment, working with this person.
That shit was cool because it was like, we knew we was nominated for the shit. Mm-hmm. And then my dad actually, he bought me a plane ticket to go out there. You know what I'm saying? Just as a congratulations. Mm-hmm. I didn't go to the actual award ceremony, but I was at all the parties and shit. Right. You know what I mean? And just seeing it on TV and seeing her shout us out at the Grammys, it was like, oh shit, she just said our name. Cause like I was on the phone with Coley, like, she just said our name, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was crazy. Then afterwards, I was just, I was solo dolo, you know what I'm saying? And I was just out there celebrating and just having fun out there.
Is that like the point in which like you did something? It's like, do you, in terms of like awards, do you feel like that is when you're the most appreciated or celebrated?
It's definitely like it's one of those gratifying moments that's like, I did it, whatever. Because it's winning a Grammy is damn near like
it's tough.
Winning the lottery.
Exactly. It don't happen often.
Because making a placement is winning the lottery. So winning a Grammy is the double lottery.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Shout out to you on that one.
Thanks.
How many more Grammys we got underway?
Well, we have 3 total, and we got a shitload of nominations. So we got a lot more losses than we have.
But I mean, it's cool still to be nominated. You know what I mean? Still be in the running to a Grammy. It's amazing.
I'm super thankful for that.
Is it still gratifying? Like after the second and third, it still feels good, right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the business part of it, because I mean, I'm sure after you winning Grammys and being nominated, your price starts going up. You got management, and these for young producers are things that they don't necessarily consider. Yeah. But I want to talk about like distribution, publishing, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Why would you say, or like, would you recommend having like a relationship with a distribution company as a producer, and then like handling your publishing and just like the business side? What are some things you recommend to producers that are listening?
I mean, the publishing aspect of it is very tricky, because sometimes there's certain aspects that can be confusing. Mm-hmm. The publisher side, the writer side, you know what I mean? Like, okay, there's a difference. So now I got to set up a publishing company to get paid and this and that. Like, there's a lot of tricky little aspects. The way it's set up for dumb motherfuckers to not get paid.
To lose, right?
Yeah. So if you a dumb motherfucker, you're not going to get paid.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
Right. No, facts, big facts. Everybody laughing, but it's true. But I mean, like, so early on.
But I was a dumb motherfucker.
That's what I'm like. Early on, did you know? Like, did your dad give you some insight? Did your management?
Because my dad he's on the performer side. Like, he's a performer. So,
True.
Not until he got into like the producing side, and because he produces a lot of stuff on the jazz side.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he's he got hit records on the jazz Billboard right
now. Tell
me
more about it. I'm not familiar. I just found out who your father was, like, in researching you.
Me too.
So.
I'm just kidding.
Dead.
No, I'm just kidding.
Don't do your mom like that.
Nah. But he does stuff on he works with him and his partner Philippe Sace, who's incredible keyboard player. Mm-hmm. He's done he's with everybody, Shaka Khan and Hall & Oates and all those guys. Hall &
Oates. We were just jamming out.
Yeah. So, and then my dad, he's worked with every fucking body.
That's amazing.
I mean? As a musician. And his library goes back to 70s disco.
That's fire.
Yeah. So, you know, he's just he's one of those salt of the earth musicians. You know what I mean? That just grind out, and he does his thing. So he's now he's in his 60s now, and so he's gravitated towards the behind the scenes aspect of kind of like what I do.
Right. Now he's right in your arena.
Yeah, he's my competition.
Your competition now? You better watch out.
Nah, he's a musical genius. I don't. I always ask him, like, okay.
Is he proud of you? He's proud of you.
Yeah.
He's super proud. He
absolutely.
said it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I'm sure it's cool to see your seed flourish in the same business.
No, he loves it. He loves it. Yeah.
So, well, let's get back to it. So, how did you figure it out? Like, how did you figure out the publishing thing, what you should be making, split sheets, all that?
Well, just a lot of books, a lot of real world experience.
Any books you recommend?
I mean, of course, the Donald Passman book. That's but things change over because there's always revisions. So just whatever, get the latest, latest version of that, and then I always recommend the Music DNA. I forgot who wrote it, but Music DNA is a great one. It kind of kept us ahead of the curve as far as the streaming aspect of it.
Right.
I love that book actually. I read it like 4 or 5 times. It's great.
Okay.
Great book. But always get the latest versions of whatever music educational books. Because
things change so often.
Things change because the president just signed into law the new Copyright Act. So you gotta things change. I just got something in the mail regarding from Sirius XM regarding the stream percentages and how they're gonna affect your billing. Because you got to pay for the Sirius stuff. So I guess the rates are going to change based on to offset the
cost.
the new royalty agreements.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So just stay up to date, stay current on what's going on.
Stay current, but I mean, it's hard to do that and be creative at the same time. But if you can, just do it. Like you're never gonna be broke if you know what the fuck is going on.
Right. Exactly.
If you a dumb motherfucker your whole life, you're gonna be rich for a second, and then you're gonna be broke again.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So I want to talk about ownership because we know obviously people, if they type in Justice League, type in Rook, you'll hear a lot about the Chance the Rapper situation and like a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I don't really want to get into that. I just want to talk about the importance of like ownership and like how to handle it with the artist and like how does that process work if you're not in the studio, if you are in the studio, whatever the case may be. And
ownership in what?
Of in regards to your own music, like okay,
like
I'm
masters,
and like just because we talked about the way the process is of just like sending things out. How does that work exactly? Like are
sending
you
out music and
sending out music, but also being protected? Like this is my beat. This is what we have agreed to this, that, and the third. Are you dealing with the artist on these things? You're dealing with their management, your management dealing with their management?
Yeah, I mean that's when the lawyers come in, and then the lawyers come up with the agreement. I mean, producer agreements are pretty simple, You
get half?
We own this, you own that, we licensed it, you have the right to license that. Super simple.
Okay.
Like producer agreements are the simplest shit. Like it's like the hardest thing about producer agreements is actually just, getting the label to cut the check. That's it.
Why?
Because it's slow.
It's slow. Okay.
Yeah. But it's all good. And everybody has their place. Certain, the admin people, they might got stuff going on and stuff.
At what point did you realize you needed a management? Did you have it out the gate or?
Yeah. Well, yeah, pretty much out the gate. Early on we had friends managing us and whatnot, and they did their job, they did what they had to do, and like with any business, we had you got to change gears real quick, and you work with Orlando now, so.
And what role does the management play for you as a producer?
Well, now I mean I think back in the day it was more like setting up the work and all that shit. But now it's more negotiation.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because
Cool.
we could just call anybody. But hey,
Yeah,
what's
you
up?
had the relationships, right?
Yeah.
So talk about building relationships with artists like a Ross, Mary J. Blige,
Mhm.
Jeezy, Lupe Fiasco. Like, how has forming these like authentic relationships
Mhm.
impacted the placements ultimately in your career so far, becoming like the notable producers you are today?
I think it's more when you like get in the studio with them and they get to know you. It's like, oh, these motherfuckers is cool. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and the same thing with them. Like, oh, they cool. With Jeezy, we knew him before he was even signed and while he was coming up and all that, and he was working with a lot of guys in this area. Um, he was working with CKP. He's working with Jazzy Faye and all those guys, and Noontime. So he was working with a lot of guys, and he was working with Drummer Boy, and he's working with just a lot of guys he was working with, and we were one of them. So just being in that situation, helped us out, and we kind of knew exactly what was going to happen because with Jeezy, it's like, oh shit, this guy is fucking good,
Right.
you know. What was the original question again? I'm sorry.
Just like how you were
Because
just.
I'll veer off. I'll just
It's totally fine. I love
yeah.
that. Conversation is pretty
Stream of
organic.
consciousness will just go. You know what I'm saying?
No, but I mean, I want to stress the importance of building those relationships
Yeah.
directly with the artist and their management or whoever the case may be.
Yeah, because at the time, Coach K was managing Jeezy,
Right.
and we had a great relationship with them and this and that, and with Ross, we had a great relationship with Ross, and we started with them when they weren't like huge, like, and we weren't huge, but we each saw the potential in each other,
Right.
and so it was fun. It was like we made music and it was fun. It was like it was exciting.
Were there ever moments you were like, this isn't it? Or like, pretty much every time y'all sat down, it was just some like, it was fire.
Nah, it was like, because it was like making music that wasn't done before. It was like, yo, this shit is great. Like maybe sometimes I didn't understand it,
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes it was like weird, but then I got it later on.
Mm-hmm.
Because the artists have a vision as well. Then we have a vision, so just to put it together was it's outstanding. So it's like there wasn't really a time where it was like, oh nah, this ain't it. This sucks. This is nah. It was more like, okay, you have a vision. Let me facilitate the vision.
Mm-hmm.
Let us help you with your vision and creating your legacy.
Definitely. I think that's important.
Yeah.
So, in your opinion, who's the true king of R&B of this generation?
Oh my God. The funny thing about that, though, well, not funny, but I think the most important thing about that question is that I guess J.U.S.T.I.C.E started that conversation.
Yeah.
J.U.S.T.I.C.E, right?
Mm-hmm. He said he's a true king
See,
of R&B.
I mispronounced it. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
J.U.S.T.I.C.E, I'm sorry. I want to work with you, bro. I'm sorry. But he started the conversation, which is cool because R&B really isn't that cool.
Right.
It never really wasn't that cool.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he made the conversation cool. He made it like, okay, now everybody's coming out the woodwork. Boom, boom, boom. I'm the king. I'm the king. I'm the king, which is good. But I like that. I like that. So, but who's the king of R&B? I don't know, man. Like that's.
I mean, you just don't want to answer. It's okay. You don't got to answer it.
It's like, just right now, probably I'm gonna say Bruno Mars.
Of R&B.
Yeah.
I saw that.
A lot of people think he's pop, but he's not really.
No, he does a lot of R&B.
He makes R&B music. It just so happens to go pop.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
See, that's the difficult part of that conversation, anyways, because like, what is R&B? What is pop these days? It's such exactly, but it's such no genre. It's like breaking boundaries really across genres for a lot of music. So
definitely,
I'll leave that at that. I just wanted to ask because I thought it was
funny.
funny.
But They could be a new R&B king. I mean, 'cause I think T-Pain is a GOAT. I think T-Pain, I think T-Pain is one of the greatest.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So I could say, but this industry is what have you done for me lately kind of industry.
Exactly.
So it's like,
Exactly. You don't
who's the
really think about
hottest
the
right now?
legacy.
Yeah, who's the hottest right now? Nobody's talking about Usher. Nobody talking like, come on, bro. Like, you ain't did what Usher did. You ain't did what T-Pain did. You ain't did what, you know what I'm saying? Not even what Akon did. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of people.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson. We just gonna overlook Michael Jackson?
Right.
I mean, yeah, he's the king of pop, but he did some R&B shit.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, so what's one thing you know now that you wish you knew then?
Nothing.
Said I already knew.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Nothing,
What's that?
because I make my mistakes on purpose.
Gotcha.
I didn't make them on purpose, but they were, there's a path.
And there's a reason
There's
for
a reason for it. So, I don't want to know shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like where I'm at now. I'm cool. Like, just
leave it at that.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite record produced today? I told you mine was Aston Martin music from you guys.
Yeah.
What would you say one of your favorite records is today, just off the top?
Oh shit, off the top. Probably Maybach Music too. I like that one. We mixed that one here too.
Why? Why that one? Why did that come up?
Well, we has Ross, Kanye, T-Pain, and Lil Wayne. It's a lot of generations on there, a lot of heavy hitters on there. Man, it just sounds like, what the fuck is, like, when you hear it, like, even now, like, god damn, what the fuck, we did that shit. Damn,
Yeah.
that shit's cool as fuck. You know what I'm saying?
So why do you think, my last thing for you is, like, why do you think people come to you and the Justice League to produce a record or to just do business? What is it about you? I know you talked about, people being able to get a good vibe from you personality-wise, but also, they're going to get some live instrumentation. Maybe they're going to get a certain sound. But in your opinion, why do you think they come to you?
It's surprising what they get from us. Like, they're always surprised what they get from us.
Okay.
Sometimes they be like, I want that raw shit. I want that this. But we give you what we think, what we want to hear you on, just as fans.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people reach out because there's a lot of, they know they're going to get quality. They know they're going to get whatever they want, when they want it. Professionalism. They know sometimes, some guys look to us for nostalgia reasons. Like, I want this type of record. I want some that soulful shit. I want that. All right, cool. Yeah, we got you. Or sometimes they might think back to a record like, I'm Not a Star. They be like, I want some shit like I'm Not a Star. I want some shit like No Games, Ross and Future. I want some shit like you did for Future. I want some. So, like, our catalog, the variety spans. So they'll know that, what records we did for Future, what records we did for Ross, or what records we did for Jeezy or Mary or Drake or whoever. You know what I'm saying? And they be like, okay, I want that type of shit. Remember that shit you did? Of course, yeah.
Of course.
So, like, they reach out for the nostalgia. They reach out for a certain feel that they want, and we'll give it to them. And we'll try hard. We'll work hard, even without a check. We're just like, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch on too. Like, you mentioned in an old interview about that it was about the Chance the Rapper situation.
Yeah.
And for those who aren't familiar, just like Google, but it essentially you were saying that, like, it wasn't about the money.
Right.
Like, you do stuff for, if you have faith in the artist or you see something in that artist or the group or whatever it is, that talent.
Correct.
That you're willing to do that. And that says a lot coming from someone like you and, what you've done already.
Yeah, it's not even about the money or this and that. Like, we just want the right thing done, the just thing done. Like, just don't, like, we'll help you out as much as we can. We'll do whatever to make you happy. You know what I'm saying? We'll make sure that you have the best product from us, but just don't shit on us. We're not those kind of people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we'll work for free for days just to make sure your shit is right, and then we know the check is gonna come in eventually.
Exactly.
So spec work.
I feel you. So what's next for Justice League? What's next for Rook?
Well, whatever's next for Rook is next for Justice League because, me and Colione are inseparable. Like, so that's what we do. Right now, we're working on Rick Ross's new album.
Yes.
And we haven't worked with him in the past few albums, because, you got to search your sound. You know what I mean? Just like Snoop did. He didn't work with Dr. Dre on every album.
Right.
So we're working on.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah,
we're excited to hear that. I'm sure
I can't say much.
It's fire.
It's fucking cool. That shit, like I was just at his crib, right before I went to Europe a couple weeks ago.
Yes, I see you enjoyed your experience.
Yeah, so the shit that we got with Ross now is like it's nostalgic and it's new, and it's like, oh shit, like this shit is like really fucking good.
Well, I'm excited.
I'm a cynic sometimes when it comes to like music, and because I'm my own worst critic.
We all are.
Yeah, but the shit that we're doing,
he said, Ross, but I'm not worried about this one.
This shit is like, oh shit, like damn, this is like really fucking good, really good. Working with Jeezy on his last album.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he had to reach out to us, and I love Jeezy. Jeezy's a good guy.
Yeah.
And so we got some cool shit with him, like super, like
out of here.
Super, yeah, it's super cool. Like,
well, if you don't say it's cool, then I mean,
it's cool. Like and Jeezy is super hands on. Like I like we were giving him 20 million versions of the song, different instruments, different bass lines, different sounds. Like Jeezy's super hands on with shit.
Yeah.
Like he's like, nah, I think you should change the snare. I think you should do this. I think you should turn up the bass or make it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
Like people
don't know that.
People don't know Jeezy is super hands on.
Yeah.
With the music.
That's fire.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to hear more from Justice League per usual. I mean, you guys are phenomenal at what you do.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you for sitting down with me and
My
talking
pleasure.
to me on the podcast. I know you have had plenty of times working here in this building, so we appreciate you always coming through.
Here.
A lot of history. Thank you so much. And tell them where they can find you on social media.
You can find us on Twitter, Justice League. You can find me on Instagram, just Rook Flair, ROOKFLAIR. You can find Coley. Just search Colione, JL. You'll find him. The Oh God.
The Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, the Oh God. I he just changed it, so I can't remember it.
I think it's like O_GAWD.
See, there you go. So
yeah,
you cooler than me. You got
I was researching.
Yeah.
I was stalking y'all. But okay, so thank you. And tell Colione we said what's up.
Absolutely.
Next time we'll have to have him on
he
here
gonna
with you.
say it. Colione, love you, brother.
All right. Thank you. Again, as always, you all can find this podcast on social media at IDM Podcast, as well as me on all social media platforms, Sammy Approved. Thank you. Thanks, Rook. Sonically superior.